Are you ready?
Yeah.
Tell us about the last 19 years.
Well, yeah. We'll see how it does. First grudge race, Baily's edition.
Do you want to race one of those one day? You want to race one? What?
Oh my God!
Hey TJ, I'm gonna be driving Casey's car next. So if you see me staging in the back tire, I know what I'm doing. There's gonna be a lot in your face. Cameras everywhere, things everywhere. Don't fuck up. Do the A to B pass. The consistency is gonna win the race. Man, the last 19 years has been one hell of a ride. I'm gonna make sure my phone was muted. The last 19 years, if that's the topic of conversation, requires one of these for sure. All right, I'm ready.
What made you start Baily's 19 years ago?
We were modifying our, well, I guess I can go further back. Racing has been in the family for a long time. And modifying cars quickly became a passion and overpowered or took over my mom's garage. So essentially I got kicked out of my mom's garage and forced to open up a business and take my hobby into a shop. So I signed a contract and took the risk at 1200 South Blue Mountain Road at a little place in Saginaw, Texas, 19 years ago. I left my day job. I was selling home audio speakers with Bose Corporation at Grapevine Mills and took the leap with me, my Sentra, and what I thought were some clients that would be taking me to this world of performance modifications. But it didn't end up that way. Not right away. So we opened up the shop in 2007. It was 1,200 square foot. 200 of that was in, was the office. So essentially 1,000 square foot behind a Subway next to a Chicken Express, the little town Saginaw. We were building Nissan Sentras, specifically the SER Spec V, and kind of was hoping that that would be the world of modifications, which would be the Nissans. But unfortunately, the economy really was the big downfall of 2008, 2009, all the way up to 2010, right, was a big economy decline. And it made it really difficult. So right away, the dream of being the speed shop that we saw on Fast and Furious was tanked. Just wasn't going to happen. So I did what I could to survive. I quit my job. I left everything that I knew that was comfortable and went out on this limb. So it had to work. There was no giving up. There was no looking back. There was no stopping. So I did what I needed to survive, which was eating ramen, sleeping in the shop sometimes, freshening up in the sink, doing what I needed to. The performance world died off real quick because of the economy. And I was just a young shop and a young kid that didn't know anything. I think I was 20 years old. How old was I in 2007? Do the math real quick. How old was I in 2007? I don't even know how old I was.
You were 22 years old.
22. So it went from this dream of performance cars to doing oil changes and maintenance. And it wasn't until, I'd say, probably 2010 where it started to turn around. So we went from 2007 to 2010. We were street racing with everybody that we could. There was an old Starbucks meet, and actually we would race with guys like Jimmy Dale and everything back in the day. And that's kind of where we cut our teeth. From there, in 2010, things started to really turn around. So we were starting to we had our little Centra crew that was starting to beat up on some V8s. So then the V8 guys were starting to come to us, and we were starting to put V8 swaps into some import cars like the G35, the 350Zs, the RX8s. We were starting to do those swaps, and then we'd go out and street race with those and beat up on the muscle car guys. And then that led into them wanting us to bring in their Trans Ams, their, things like that, Mustangs, things that were coming in from there. And that's how we started going from imports to GM or to muscle cars. So that was that transition. Really cool. We did LS swaps in 2010. We were doing the harnesses. We were doing everything that nobody was really doing in the DFW area. But when it came to GM performance, everybody was doing that. So that market was a little bit more cutthroat as far as what we had to do. So, yeah.
What were some of your struggles?
So the hardest part in learning most of this was probably losing a lot of the friends along the way that I thought were friends. That things changed. So 2007, 2010 was a little bit of a growing thing. I could no longer work on people's cars for free, for the fun of it. I had a business now. I had to pay rent. I had to eat. Working on cars and doing shit for free was out the window. And as soon as that went away for some people, that all disappeared. The friends started to go, the things started to change, my world started to change, and that's where, the first wave of circle kind of started to get smaller. So me being the social butterfly, wanting to be everybody's friends, that was probably one of the most painful things to go through as an individual. Was making the decision of choosing me, my dream, my life, my desire to do this over having friends, over keeping friendships, kind of thing. So 2010 was rough, but it started to turn around in 2010. So 2010 to probably about 2013, 14 was real big into like working on the GM stuff. That was Corvettes, Camaros. I had a buddy that was working at Hennessy that used to refer a lot of non-Hennessy people that just didn't want to pay those prices or whatever. He started referring them out to me. So I really had a great friend that was absolutely a lifesaver. He believed in us, and that was Mike Peters. Mike Peters was an amazing individual. We actually hated each other online, which is really funny because we used to build drift cars for my brother. And so we used to go out drifting, and Mike Peters was an arch nemesis until we started working on GMs. He got a job there. We extended an olive branch, and we really worked together to do that. So, Mike Peters was really probably a big turning point for me as far as getting the trust of those kind of clientele into allowing us, this little kid, you know, 25 years old, to work on their, at the time, $70,000, $80,000 vehicles. That was that time frame window where we started doing a lot of things there. And then I took some of our clients, Dodge clients, to a show called 4G Auto Fest. This was when 4G Auto Wheels was on a big incline and was starting to wind up in, you know, hip hop culture, songs, things like that. So it was a big event. It was a big deal. And fortunately, I had 2 clients with Dodges that had 4G Auto Wheels. One big contributor to that was Willie Martinez. House of Cigars, great guy, great customer, great friend. He was a really big turning point in the next phase. So, you know, we've done some big hurdles, big jumps. The show was something that I really needed. I have this unique ability, I would like to say, to kind of be in tune with where the market goes, where I need to go to survive, where the business needs to go, and kind of be in tune with where trends are kind of going with that. And I knew that imports weren't going to pay the bills. Domestics were going to be the next thing that I needed to, because those were the guys that had money that can afford what they needed to do to modify vehicles. But the struggle with that was everybody and their mothers had a GM shop on every single corner. So then you were competing for pennies. The only thing that nobody had was the Dodges, right? So we started working on perfecting our craft for the Dodges around the 2012, 2013 range. And that's where Willie Martinez came in. He had a 2014 Challenger RT. We did a Pro Charger. We really, you know, brought his vision to life and his dreams to life. And we took it to 4G Auto Fest. 4G Auto Fest, I had one mission, and that was to meet and mingle with everybody I could. That mission really came about because they shoved me in a corner facing a wall behind the main stage. And it really kind of infuriated me, to say the least, where I made it a mission to find one who ran the show, the key people in 4G Auto, and the people who could afford those kind of wheels, was to see how I can get in building their cars, right? So by the end of the show, I had worked my way up to meeting the owner, AC, of 4G Auto Wheels, and convincing him to let me build this yellow wide body Corvette. The trick to that was I had to do what the shop was promised to do before, which was work on it for free. And I had to get it to SEMA. And I had to be able to make it presentable for them to be proud of, to showcase the new wheels. So this was a collaboration build between 4G Auto Wheels and a guy named Topo, which was also known as the Wide Body King. The Wide Body King was taking all these brand new cars and doing these crazy wide body kits. So here's this little guy and behind Subway and the Chicken Express dumpster, working in a 1,000-square-foot shop that probably bit off more than I can chew, because I committed to it. I said, you got it. It had to be cammed. It had to be pro-charged. It had to do all these kind of crazy things, and look good and show the part. It was going to SEMA. So I invested every little bit of pennies that I had into building this car for 4G Auto. It was one car that I had a key in. They showed up with several others, but it was one. And I scraped it all together. I don't know how I did it. I couldn't tell you how I put all the money together to put this thing there, but I bought a Pro Charger kit. We tuned the first 2014 Stingray Corvette, and I made it very unique and cool and presented it to him, which was exciting. And that was one of the biggest turning points for Baily's Hyperformance. And that is also where I met my beautiful wife. That also was the turning point for my company. The hard part of that was so the next part was I had to figure out a way to get to SEMA, because young, stupid me never even negotiated how the hell to get to SEMA. So the car was going there. I put all this money into there, and I just was like, well, okay, so next thing, how the hell am I going to get there to Vegas? And that's where I stayed at the Luxor, probably the most disgusting hotel on the Strip. I can never get rid of the vanilla smell that they have in that hotel, but I stayed at the Luxor, and I made it happen. I stayed and I worked to that car at SEMA, and it was outside. It was on a show called Car Crazy, where they did an interview with it. They put the car on the stage and they interviewed the AC, the owner of Forgiato, and it was great. That was my turning point to saying that I had a SEMA built car. And from there, I was able to market it. I pushed it. I did everything. And we got more and more and more Corvettes from there. And that really started to snowball into that. But at the same time, Dodges was coming up. So 2015, Dodge changed the game. So I was already working in Dodges, and Dodge really changed the game by introducing the Hellcat. So you had the Corvette, which was coming up, then the Hellcat came up until probably 16, 17. I was really pushing Dodges and GM. So we rapidly outgrew that shop, but that shop that we were at on Blue Mountain Road turned into something where the city was really starting to force us out and was starting to fine us and get onto us about, we couldn't push a car outside that didn't have an engine or that wasn't running. We needed permits for that. We needed this. They wouldn't renew our COs. They wouldn't do any of this other stuff. So we started working against issues with the city not wanting us there. So we had to move. And that's where we found our next home, which was a huge jump from 1,000 square foot to 10,000 square foot and signing our lease. And that's where our next big jump was. And that's where I would say I would have to give credit to my Uncle Co, who really pushed us to do that, helped us with signing the lease, of doing the 10 years, and that step in making that leap of really kind of pushing us to do it, because me and my soon-to-be wife were scared. We're going from like $1,000, $1,500 a month. I think they increased it to 2,000. Was gradually going up on rent over there to $7,000 a month. It was huge. It was a big jump for us. It was very scary. And we made that jump. We made that move. Signed the lease. The building wasn't even up yet. We didn't have anything. We were there for the groundbreaking. We were there for the building going up. We signed a lease to a building we didn't even look at. And it was a big scare. It was big. And from that time, for probably 3 or 4 years.
Do you remember when we stood there and we looked over and it was this massive shop? And we looked at each other and we said, when are we ever going to fill this place up?
Yeah, when are we ever going to need? I remember looking at that and being like, man, I think we bit off more than we can chew. We didn't need 10,000 square feet. What the hell are we going to do with Oh, we were at 2,000 square foot at that time. So what the hell are we going to do with 8,000 square feet? You know, stupid me. We signed the lease. We bought a dyno. We had a brand new dyno being delivered there. We had all these big expenses, that we were doing, and it was scary. But I don't quit. I'm relentless. I never give up. There's been times where, especially then, I didn't know how we were gonna eat. Even then, we're 10 years in now, and I had no idea of what I was gonna do to get food. And then my wife wasn't helping me in the office at all or anything, so I just didn't know how I was gonna go home and tell my wife that I had to sleep in the truck that night. And we weren't living together or anything then, were we?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we were.
because I slept in the truck a few times before.
Yeah, it was probably Saginaw. But at that point, I left the hospital in 2018.
Yep. So 17, 18. It was a scary time. We had a lot of money going out, and there was this move or this transition from going from Saginaw to Golden Triangle, and we're still young, trying to learn how to tell people where we moved to, where we did, what we're doing, getting the website, getting out the word that we were going here, but still, January 1, that rent was due, and it was tough. We struggled. We struggled big time.
The uphill power movement.
Yeah. So we were there probably 3-4 years. What, maybe 5 years? Probably the 5-year mark. It started to turn right back up.
So we moved in 2016 at the new location. So then 17 was a little rough. And then 18 is, I would say, when it started coming up.
So we moved in 2016. When did we get married?
2018.
Huh?
2018.
We got married in 2018.
Mhm.
So moved into the shop 2016. Was really struggling with that. That took about a year or two. I really scrounged up some money to marry the woman of my dreams, and we got married in 18. 2019, I had my first son, and that really relit a fire in me to hustle and work like I've never worked before. I had a dream of being able to support a family, and that became a reality for us. And I didn't ever want my wife to have to go back to work at a regular job. I really wanted her to embrace the moments with my children, with our kid. We never thought we would even be able to have a son. So, Aiden truly is a blessing, and a big gift to us. And I wanted her to enjoy every moment of that. So I worked really hard for that. And then COVID hit in 2019. All that shit went downhill. It was crazy. It was scary. We didn't know what was going on. We thought cars, that's it. It's done. It's wrapped. And we got to figure out our exit plan. And it was just a scary time with COVID. And we had no idea what to expect or what to do, what was going on. And 22.
To our surprise, though, it was one of the best years we had.
Yep, it was one of the best. It was. We were trying to figure out a way, because we didn't want to lay guys off, so we were truly preparing for, what can we do to be able to afford the guys to keep. And honestly, I was ready to go work a nighttime job. And honestly, I was ready to go work a nighttime job to be able to keep the bills paid and to be able to keep the guys fed that were at the shop doing what they needed to. I was prepared to do anything and everything that I needed to stay afloat. It was 2007 all over again for me. I'm willing and ready. I know what it's like to sleep on the floor. I know what it's like to eat ramen, and I know what it's like to kind of question how and where you're going to be able to shower at. So I have no issues with that. So from then to now, I'm fully prepared at any expense. And so in the background, we were building the very unique car that you see behind us. And we took that opportunity to build that up. And what we thought was going to be slow really, truly lit I don't know what happened. It was like gasoline, race gas, and a match. Just like boom, all this business was like growing and things people were calling. I think people were just bored at home buying car parts. It was insane. So what we thought was dialing back, we had to re-engage and get ready for and hit the ground running. It was insane. I don't think there will ever be another time like that in our lifetime again where it just was an atomic bomb to the car world. It was going like wildfire. So we were able to save up a lot of money. We were able to do these things and kind of get moving. We expanded into the shop across the way, got 15,000 square feet total. Bills were getting paid, things were getting paid off. And I remember telling Marlene, um, I'm 16, 17 years into this and I have nothing to show for it. I don't own my own house. I don't own a building. I'm paying rent. I'm doing these things. Money's going out. I have nothing to show for it. And the true thing, the best thing that any man can ever have is a woman that stands behind them to a T, that is supportive, the silent warrior behind them, the rock, the mental stability that we need as men. Us as men, we don't like to share the things that we struggle with and things that we go through and the burdens that we carry every day for our families to be able to do what they do. As a man, you never understand or know that, when your wife comes in and, Aiden needs a pair of shoes. What that, well, where are we going to get the money to get a pair of shoes? That wasn't on the budget. That wasn't on the plan, you know? We had a slow week. We didn't get out things. Cars were fighting us. I couldn't meet the deadlines, couldn't meet deliveries. We had these things we needed to take care of, and so that was a whole new struggle for things, and it was definitely a growing phase. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you and I have this unique ability to always work towards goals together. And so when the conversation came of we need to plan for the next move, we can't be renting forever, we can't be here forever.
Yep. Yeah, we
We
can talk. Yeah.
we instantly shifted.
Yeah. So the unique thing about that, so the good thing about having a strong woman like that behind me was that we have family meetings or come to Jesus meetings, that I like to call them. And we like to redirect, focus, and get our energy. One of them being, everyone told us that we could not build a fast car. So we put together on how to figure out how to get a fast car and get out to the racetrack and race to prove ourselves. We were building great cars on the street. We were building all kinds of things. There were street cars, but you never saw us at the racetrack. You never saw us doing anything. And that's where the biggest struggle was that we had race cars or we needed to prove ourselves at the track.
I think that can also just kind of be a point of, you know, where people would always say, like, oh, Chris can't build a fast car. He's never at the track. He's never at the track. Well, we were cooking in the garage and we had 18-month oopsie.
Yeah.
And so, like there was a lot happening, but you were also waiting for the right time to come out. And
Yeah.
19
So
you're right.
Aiden was born in 2019. Everybody was locked up, cooped up in the house. 18 months later, things were kind of starting to come down. I don't know. I just couldn't keep my hands off Marlene. And then 18 months later, we have Olivia that blesses us. So now I've got 2 little mouths to feed. One of them has a hollow leg, just like her mother. And so we had to really scrounge for food. So Marlene is pumping, grilling, eating, working on cars, making things work as a family as we try to prove ourselves that Baily's Hyperformance can build a fast car. And that's where we started changing the focus of the Demon to go into the racetrack and building other clients. So we would build other clients' cars, things like that. They'd go race and then they'd get kind of bored and then they'd go sell them. So we were putting a lot of time and money into other people's cars and not really doing anything here. So we had an opportunity to build this Demon for a client that wanted that, and we got all that done. Went out and raced it, won him some money, and then offered to sell us the car. So we purchased the car from him and took the car even further and proving what we can do as a shop. Once that started growing, that's where we met one of our best friends, TJ, really because I was nervous. I was really scared. Racing at the track and getting dodges and things like that was really tough. My nerves were through the roof. One, because I had to do it, but then I'm breaking cars and going out there racing cars that none of these guys ever raced. Everybody was racing Mustangs and Camaros and Corvettes. And when you have constant social media telling you that you can't build a fast car, then you have this pressure of going out there to perform. And that's where TJ and Cheese and everybody was really welcoming, because we would break and it was encouraging. It wasn't, you're a failure, you don't know how to do this. It was like, buddy, that's awesome what you're doing. Like, keep coming out, you know, improve, make it better. We're going to see you next time. Right.
Which was a breath of fresh air.
It was huge because I thought that this whole world was beating us down, telling us a bunch of things that we couldn't do. And TJ really empowered us to do that. It was okay. It was a badge of honor to break something at his track, at his private rental, and then to come back out and do what we were trying to accomplish and not break. Then it changed our focus or our mindset of breaking was a failure and a down to now breaking was an up. It was, we broke, yes, let's find, fix, and make better. We broke, let's do it again. And it was a repeat. So racing with TJ really, at that rental, really inspired us to do that. And it has been an honor to be able to have shared that track with that man right there, because it was huge. And what he did for our company, I just wish I could tell him again. And that was rough.
He knows.
So
You told him many times.
So 2020, 2021, And 2022, we were on a mission for setting the record and building the fastest demon in the world. And at the same time, we were going back and forth. Oh, that was Barth.
It was Barth. That's why there's a rivalry.
That's why there's a rivalry.
It was
Jorge Duque.
Tukey. Mm-hmm.
So
You just had a fucking epiphany.
I just had an epiphany. Yep. So we were building this car to be the record for the fastest demon in the world. We were going back and forth with a guy named Jorge Duque, great guy, honorable guy. And we would transition back and forth with the demon and tossing this record up, and he would take it, I would take it, he would take it, I would take it. And it was a cool little rivalry until, you know, of course, we ran away with it and started really getting the demon super fast and into the sevens. So 2021, TJ was there for us for the record, and going all the way up into where we felt confident and ready that we had a competitive car to be able to compete with TX2K. So TX2K 2022 was the first year that we put the car in and competed. Took it out there by ourselves. We didn't have any other clients with us, no other customers. We were there really to try to show ourselves. And that's where the next step of, you know, Baily's Hyperformance and racing, improving ourselves there. So TX2K was the next hurdle, right? We thought we had a great car. We were cutting our teeth on TJ's track. We did TX2K in 22, first time ever. And that's where we got a second place there. And I used to always tell TJ, man, I want you to be the guy that lines me up. When you get to rentals and you get to TJ, that's like always the one putting you in the beams, putting you in the groove, where you need to be, like just learning so much from him. I wanted him. I'm like, TJ, I want you to be the guy to line me up at TX2K. Like, I want you to be there. Like, you need to come to Houston. And then Houston shut down, and then it moved to the Motorplex. So one of my dreams was to have TJ be there to line me up, and that was an awesome experience to have him in 23 do that for us. Was it 23? 24. So 22, our first TX2K, we got second place. 23 we broke, 24 and went to the Motorplex, and I was like beyond ecstatic that I was finally going to have TJ be there to line us up and to show off what we were doing with it, because the Demon record went back and forth from the Motorplex to Houston. So it was always a competition between Austin and TJ on where this record was going at and who was going to have it, which was a lot of fun. So the goal at 24 was to bring the record back to the Motorplex with TJ there lining us up, and it was great. And you know, we made it all the way there, but of course, in TJ fashion, we broke. Round one on the big day, and that was it. So it was normal TJ fashion that we broke an axle on his prep on the main stage, main event Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning. What a way to start it, right? Which was unique because I jumped out of the car, got out and helped our other guys go down the track, and we were breaking drive shafts and we were doing this and that, and I'm still in my suit and everything trying to tell these guys like, TJ has got his shit on fucking kill. Just get down the track, don't break it. And it was a very unique experience. We pushed my car off, got that bitch out of the way, and I'm getting all of our customers down the track. So it was a lot of fun. So 2024, we made it all the way through with Casey winning first place, and then our tuner, the best tuner in the world, winning second place, which was awesome. And then Jay got third place, if you want to count third place. So the little car that was supposed to blow up and leave pieces all over the track for a crazy number never blew up and kept going. And you know, so 24 with TJ at the helm was a very awesome experience to share with him and to show him what these Dodges were doing. And it was a lot of fun. It was a great thing to do. And then enter our media lady, and she's never left since. So turned out to be a great year for 2024, and we were beyond excited and knew that 2025 was just going to be one for the books. It was just going to be bigger, better, and faster because my car, I guarantee you, was not going to break an axle at the starting line on the day of Sunday. So we did all that through TX2K, got up to winning TX2K25. We lost our good friend TJ, and that win was really the most important win in our career of ever racing this car. He was there for it. He was there for the braking. He was there for the diff to be left on the track. He was there for engine parts to be blown up and everything. And I just wanted him there to win and witness our first TX2K victory. And he did in spirit. And that was huge for us. So 2025 we won, and I really decided to make this change, and we don't want to continue to race for our car and for us going fast, because the stigma out there now was, well, Baily's Hyperformance will always make sure his car is faster than yours, and it will never ever be able to be this fast, and he's always going to hold you back, and yada yada. Hence, enter the support for our customers to go out and win, and Baily's getting into the garage world. So those two things are really our main focus now. The car has done great. It's done what it needed to, but now my point is to prove to everybody else that I can make our clients' cars faster and everything else faster and go from there. And that's where I really struggled with telling her that I just didn't have anything to show for. And so we went out one time, we were getting ready to take the kids to Disney. She found this piece of property out here in Boyd, and we didn't know what to do. Everybody was buying everything up for hundreds and thousands of dollars above market value. And we just said, you know what? Everywhere we looked, everywhere we tried to do to really expand the business, or the next step, was just being sold, outbid, everything from there. And we're like, look, if it's still there after Disney, then we'll go look at it. And this piece of property was still here after Disney. We came and looked at it. We liked it. We talked about it. And we made the move to purchase it. And I would have never thought that that would be possible. And Marlene really put the hard work in, the due diligence to make that a thing. And I couldn't be more thankful for that. And the next step was building our business, building the shop, and moving out here and doing this next phase of Baily's Hyperformance, where we own 24.5 acres, our own 10,000 square foot building. We have
just the way we wanted.
Built exactly the way we wanted with our guys. It's air conditioned. It is every bit of a dream that I would want. And our kids can run around on the property, play, have fun, do what they do. And we work on cars and build our dreams. So 2026, that's a wrap. 19 years in the making. And I feel like this next version of our life is just getting started, and we're really going to be pushing the market even further and even faster, and going more and more and traveling to races and really making sure that our clients win races and that our clients are winning grudge races, and that they keep making money doing what they're doing, and that our customers in the time showing world are still having fun doing what they do. Maybe we'll see this car back out. Who knows? Right now, I'm having a whole lot of fun spending the weekends with my family and going out racing with customers and getting that done. So here's to 2026. 19 years. Come on, 20 years. 20 years. Would have never thought that I would be sitting here in my own place, my own building, my own land, my own everything, my wife and kids, sharing every moment of it, where their spring break is filled with, are we going to go camping at TX2K? Cheers, bitches.
Is that all you want to share?
Yeah. Yeah, and to the world and the social media world, this is where they would say, hold my beer, but don't drink beer. Hold my whiskey, because we're just getting started. And 2026 is going to be one hell of a ride. See ya.